Alright guys, I want to do like a little video response to some of my subscribers that have had a few questions for me recently. In the Handgun Basics series that I've been talking about, I mentioned that I use the M&P 9mm as a home defense gun, and that's my primary home defense gun. And they've asked me, why do I choose a 9mm over a 45 ACP? And so I kind of want to get into, I want to kind of address that question in this video, and just kind of explain why I choose it. Okay, let me tell you right off the bat, the 9mm is cheaper to shoot. The 45 is more expensive. I shoot a lot more 9mm than I do 45 just because of sheer cost. Okay. Recoil to me isn't as big a deal anymore. It was when I first started shooting, but now that I've learned to I've managed my technique and learned to manage recoil, I can shoot the 45 all day long and it doesn't upset me at all. I shoot 357, 44 mag, you name it. Recoil's not as much of a factor for me. Okay, so it's not really about recoil. All right, but there's other things that come into play in my choice of choosing a 9mm handgun for home defense. All right, so let's talk about those. The main reason why I choose a 9mm is because I can hold more rounds. This is 17 plus 1 versus 13 plus 1. Okay, this has a lot of capacity for a 45. 13 is a pretty good capacity for a 45 handgun. Okay, but this is 17 plus 1 in the chamber, so we're talking 14 versus 18 rounds. All right, so that's one. It's also something that my wife can control better, okay, than a 45. Every time she's picked up a 45 ACP, she always sets it down and thinks, yeah, that kicked a lot harder. I'd rather shoot the M&P 9, or I'd rather shoot the Glock 17 or something else. The 9mm she prefers the 9mm. And so here's the thing. Am I the only one? The question is, am I the only one that can defend my household? And the answer to that is obviously no. She has the ability to do that as well. And if for some reason I was incapacitated, she would be more likely to pick this gun up and use it well than she would to pick this one up and use it well. She's more proficient with this gun, excuse me, and the Glock 17 than she is with the 45 ACP in any of the SIG 226 or the XDM 45. Okay, because she shoots this more, it recoils less, she's more proficient, and therefore she'll be more effective in defending our home and our children with the 9mm. Alright, now I know that she prefers to have this loaded because it's simple, it's kind of like one of her guns that she likes, and she loads this with 38 specials, okay? But this is our primary, this is both of our go-to handgun for home defense. But this was the gun I would have. This is the gun, if I'm using this one, she uses this one. Okay? But this one's the one that both of us can have access to all the time. Alright? So that is primarily the reason why I choose the 9mm. Now, there's other reasons why I like the 9mm. It's a great shiz, it's a fan caliber, something that is cheaper to stock and cheaper to shoot. So I like it there, and that's why I tend to gravitate to a full frame 9mm. Alright, the 45 is fantastic. I love to shoot the 45. I love this gun. I have very, very little to say negative about this gun, really, because it's a fantastic firearm. And the 45 ACP is a great round for stopping power. But let me talk about stopping power for a minute. You're kidding yourself if you think that the 45 has more knockdown power, more stopping power than the 9mm, and that difference is enough to make up for a poor shot. It doesn't. You don't need to have a physics degree in order to understand this concept, but it sure does help to have a little bit of physics common sense, okay? The 45 ACP, underpowered. The 9mm, underpowered. If you want to knock somebody down, if you want to knock somebody down, if you want to stop somebody, use a shotgun loaded with double-aught buck. okay? Or use a rifle, okay, 223 or higher, okay? All your general handgun rounds are underpowered. That's just how they are, and none of those. I mean, I'm not talking about a 500 Smith & Wesson or a 44 mag or something like that. I'm talking about your mainstream calibers. They're all underpowered. All right, and they're not going to you're not going to shoot somebody in the gut with a 45 and stop them. Okay, now you may psychologically stop them, but if they are bound and determined, a gut shot with a 45 is not going to stop somebody. A gut shot with a 9mm is not going to stop somebody. Now, if you shot somebody in the heart, the heart's not going to say, "Oh, well, that's just a 22 bullet. I'm just going to continue on pumping blood." Okay, or that's a 45 ACP bullet. I'm dead. You know, no. The heart is not going to make a differentiation between a 22 long rifle bullet and a 45 long rifle bullet or a 45 ACP bullet. They're both going to stop the function of that organ. All right, so shot placement is number one over anything else that you do. All right, you do have to have the right ammunition. So, like, if you're shooting a 25 ACP, okay, so if you're shooting like a 25 ACP round, use a full metal jacket. Because most likely, if you use a jacketed hollow point and that hollow point opens up, you're not going to go deep enough to actually hit the heart, okay, or other vital organs, okay. So you've got to use somewhat of the right ammunition. But when it comes right down to it, shot placement is key. All right, and really expansion and all the terminal ballistics that we talk about do play a role, but the hollow point opening is wounding potential. Okay, it just creates a greater wound. It doesn't necessarily stop somebody. So unless you reach a vital organ or incapacitate them with blood loss, or if you disrupt the central nervous system, or do enough neurological or neuromusculoskeletal derangement to drop somebody, you're not going to stop them, okay, if they're bound and determined. Okay, there's always factors like psychological factors and whatnot, but that's not what I'm talking about. All right, and so don't get too hung up on the great debate between the 45 and the 9mm, or any other rounds for that matter. Because when it comes right down to it, if you hit them in the chest with something like this, or hit them in the chest with something like this, they're both probably going to die. All right, and so I don't think there's enough. I don't gain enough benefit to go to the 45 to do so. All right, and people are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. That's why we live in America, and that's why we've got the First Amendment, which the Second Amendment protects. And that's okay, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody chiming in with their own opinions, because that's what life's about, right? But I just wanted to answer this question, because people get a little bit too worked up over there's just too many fanboys out there that get a little bit upset over stuff, and I know that there's some people that are genuinely asking me why I choose a 9mm for home defense, and that's totally cool. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that become hateful because you choose the 9mm over the 45 ACP. Okay, those people need to just chill out. All right. But the people that are really genuinely asking, that's what this video is for you guys out there that really have questions, and I'm answering it for you. So, all right, guys, hopefully you found this interesting. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to thumbs up the video, or like it, or dislike it, however you want. And also favorite if you'd like as well. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we will talk to you guys later. See ya. Alright guys, I just have to add this in. Dude, I love to debate the differences between the 45 ACP and the 9mm. I love that debate. Okay, the finer points in terminal ballistics. I love to talk about that. Don't fool yourself into thinking that because you own a 45 ACP, you can just fling lead anywhere, and just if you nick them, you're going to knock them backwards against the wall. For one thing, that just violates every law of thermodynamics out there. But it just doesn't work that way. But nothing replaces getting your hands on some guns, getting some trigger time, and shooting and practicing and getting proficient. Okay, nothing is going to replace that, because shot placement's king. Period. End of discussion. All right. get out there, shoot, practice your Second Amendment, protect your First Amendment, and thanks for watching. See ya.